The West Coast Conference is back to 10 with UC San Diego, giving the WCC its first public school in over 45 years since 1979. The Big West, meanwhile, is at 11 schools, with 3 part of the UC system, 6 part of the Cal State system, and then a private and Cal Baptist and a Utah school in Utah Valley. And everything has come full circle for UC San Diego, as that UC-Cal State split was what initially gatekept them out of the Big West all the way back in April 2017. The Cal State schools initially did not vote in UC San Diego because they were worried the balance of power in the Big West would shift towards the UC schools. The result was the UC schools and the Cal State schools had to agree to a quid pro quo, where the UC schools had to agree to vote for Cal State Bakersfield in order for the Cal State schools to agree to vote for UC San Diego. And that would keep the balance of power equal for a really long time, until December of 2024 when UC Davis announced they were departing for the Mountain West, thereby ensuring that the UC schools would always be at a numerical disadvantage compared to the Cal State schools, and perhaps making those UC schools, like UC San Diego, more open to leaving the Big West for a league like the West Coast Conference. Part of what makes UC San Diego so attractive is their complete surge in enrollment. The school started off with 0 in 1960 when it started and built its way up to about 12,000 in 1980. And by the time they hit the turn of the century in 2000, they were up at 20,000 enrollment. And that was when they made the move to Division II in the NCAA. Now, in the past 25 years, UC San Diego has added another 25,000 enrollment, so about 1,000 per year, and they're now up to over 45,000 students. UC San Diego is actually the second largest Division I school without football, trailing only Utah Valley in main campus enrollment. In tenure KenPom, the Pac-12 is in 6th, led by Gonzaga in 1st and San Diego State in 31st. The Atlantic 10 is in 7th, fueled by Virginia Commonwealth in 49th and Dayton in 55th. Then you have the American and Missouri Valley in 8th and 9th, separated by only 1.2. And then a bit of a gap where you have the Mountain West and the West Coast Conference very close in 10th and 11th, only separated by 1.7. UC San Diego would rank 5th in the WCC in tenure KenPom at 176 nationally. Of course, UC San Diego has only been Division I for 5 years, and they've been steadily improving, being 39th in KenPom this past year. Of note, St. Mary's is top 15 in the country at number 14 in tenure KenPom. The future iteration of the Big West would rank 17th in tenure KenPom, led by the UC Irvine Anteaters in 93rd, then Utah Valley in 139th, and the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos in 140th. Cal Baptist would be the only other top 200 school. If the WCC were to successfully poach UC Irvine and UC Santa Barbara, both the Anteaters and Gauchos would rank top 5 in the WCC. Looking at athletic budgets, can't use the Knight Commission since they don't have private schools, so we have to use the Department of Education EADA database. The top number above all the bars is their overall athletic budget in that database, and then the middle number in those light gray bars is how much of their athletic budget is devoted to athletic student aid, and the bottom number in the colored bars is how much of their athletic budget is left over after you isolate that student aid money. And UC San Diego, despite still transitioning to Division I in the 23-24 academic year, would have ranked 3rd in the WCC. Now looking at the Big West, and we're going to use the Knight Commission since that's the more accurate database for public schools. If we look at only the non-football public schools, so those 9, the top number is their overall athletic budget outflows in the 23-24 academic year. The second number in light gray is how much was devoted to facilities and debt service. The third number in dark gray is how much was devoted to athletic student aid money. And then the bottom number of the colored bars is how much of their athletic expenses are left over after you isolate that facilities and debt service and athletic student aid. And even though UC San Diego was transitioning to Division I still in 23-24, they still led these 9 non-football public Big West schools. The next highest was UC Irvine, who could very well be the next WCC target, and Long Beach State and UC Santa Barbara were right with them. The Gauchos as well could be a target. Shifting to men's basketball budgets in the WCC using the EADA database, everyone in the WCC was between 8.5 million and 3 million. UC San Diego was at 2.7 million. However, they were still transitioning in 23-24, so you could imagine it's probably quite a bit higher now. As for the Big West, you had 3 schools above 3 million, Cal Baptist, UC Santa Barbara, and UC Irvine. Then you had a gap, and everyone else was between 2 and 3 million. Now keep in mind that Cal Baptist being a private school, their scholarship money might be higher than Santa Barbara or UC Irvine. So once you were to isolate that scholarship money, the gap could close a bit. And if the WCC comes snooping around the Big West again, it's logical that they would go after the schools with the highest men's basketball budgets like UC Irvine, UC Santa Barbara. With UC Davis no longer in the Big West, the UC schools are now more open to moving out of the Big West now that they're no longer in power. And one factor the presidents and chancellors might consider behind closed doors is which set of schools they want to associate with academically. And if you look at the WCC, nearly everyone is ranked in the top 150 in US News. Whereas in the Big West, you have Long Beach State at 109, Cal State Fullerton 136, Cal Poly is well regarded. But in totality, the UC schools might prefer to be with the WCC schools rather than the Cal State schools and the other schools in the Big West. And by adding UC San Diego, the WCC has 5 very clean-cut pairings for travel partners. Seattle and Portland, 175 miles. USF and St. Mary's, 25 miles. Santa Clara Pacific, 75 miles. Pepperdine, LMU, 25 miles. And San Diego and UC San Diego, only 10 miles. When UC San Diego entered Division II of the NCAA in the year 2000, they would be part of the California Collegiate Athletic Association. UC Davis would be there for a bit, as would both Grand Canyon and Cal State Bakersfield. UC San Diego would be part of the CCAA for 2 decades until 2020, when they would enter Division I and join the 11-school Big West, which had 5 UC schools, 5 Cal State schools, and Hawaii. And as of now, they will end up spending 7 years in the Big West until 2027, when they will join the West Coast Conference.